And I'm back. So how are you guys doing? We're going to be jumping into game 2 between hendralisk and viOLet. I don't think game 1 was decisive, but hendralisk did take an early lead, which he proceeded to not throw away. I think it was more to the merit of viOLet playing extremely well and taking back that lead with some great pressure on the third. And then viOLet with, in my opinion, some questionable decisions, but managed to close the game regardless. This map is going to be Overgrowth, Ladder Edition, of course, and it should be quite fantastic. Of course, my co-caster, Nathanias, like I had to do just the series before this, has stepped out, and he is playing in the open bracket of MLG as well. If he wins his match, I believe he has to play live, so cheer for him. But yeah, I'm gonna be having a lot of fun solo casting this, so we are ready and starting the game now. The map, of course, is going to be Overgrowth, a very roach-focused map. And I know that sounds like, it's always roach-focused, it's Zerg. Yeah, kind of, but Overgrowth is one of those maps where it's hard to do anything else. Reason, of course, being the close distances, how choky the map is in itself. But it also has pretty wide open areas which are nice to engage on in the middle, so positioning can be pretty important almost no matter what. On the bottom left-hand side of the map, from CSN, it is viOLet. That's not a team, by the way, so if you're a team, don't get too sad. And on the top right-hand side of the map, from Complexity Gaming, one of the oldest teams around ever, and a pretty cool team as well, I used to be a part of that, it is hendralisk. That's the blue Zerg, of course. So it seems like viOLet's going for a 9 pull, and we are about to see whether he transitions into something else. Usually when it's a 9 pull, it's just a 9 pull and no gases are taken, but there are variations where you can take a later gas and go into link speed to follow it up. So we'll see if viOLet decides to do that, and it seems like he does not, almost. Tricks me. But yeah, the more likely thing that will happen is that he takes an expansion off of this and tries to deny hendralisk's expansion. He does know that hendralisk chose to go for a hatch first last game, but this time around, hendralisk is playing it safe and going for a 15 pool. So this is going to be a pretty good advantage for hendralisk, who's also taking a gas pretty early. You normally don't do this. You normally take your hatchery and then take the gas a little bit later. So this is as good as it gets for hendralisk. Not only is he going to be able to deflect the aggression, but he's also going to be able to apply counter pressure and deny viOLet from taking his own base anytime soon. There goes the hatchery for hendralisk. Now viOLet is moving across the map with 6 lings, which hendralisk will see with an overlord and be pretty happy about. Instantly cancels the hatchery. I'm not sure about that one, actually. He's lost a few minerals in doing so. I'm pretty sure he could have defended or saved that hatchery, but he says, you know what, I'm not even going to try. Instead, he's just going to make the lings, the queen, and retain a small lead instead of a larger one. With viOLet going for a hatchery behind this, hendralisk can still, like I said, apply counter pressure and do very well for himself. I really do not like that he canceled the hatchery, though. And I like it even less that he canceled it so early, because even if you're gonna end up canceling it, he has had very little use for his money up until this point. The money that you know he got back from canceling it. So it's better to just keep it there sometimes and wait until your opponent starts chewing on the hatchery a little bit more. viOLet with a nice little link split is going to get a scout on hendralisk. Of course, all he cares about is the gas, and he will spot that, know that hendralisk has mined just enough gas for link speed, and possibly prepare for it, but he hasn't taken a gas yet, and this is actually, it seems counterintuitive, but it's pretty good news for viOLet, not having taken a gas. One of the better ways to defend aggression in CVC, especially if it's early, is with queens. And viOLet has been making additional queens. He has 2 queens out, 1 queen out, with a second one on the way. He has more money to drop things like spine crawlers because he did not take that gas. And I don't know how well this is going to work for hendralisk, who's now droning up. So, a position that hendralisk, I think, should have taken a much clearer lead, a much more decisive advantage than he is. He's put himself in kind of a position where they're about even. He will have the speed. He will retain the map control with that. And if we look at the workers, he's actually managed to secure a 20 worker lead. But viOLet also knows that hendralisk does not have too much gas. Only now he's putting drones back on gas, and potentially he can drop a baneling nest. So viOLet, I'm not sure. I think he may have overproduced links, but he is smart enough to know that and move across the map with those links. And this, regardless of whether there is speed or not, will force more links from hendralisk, which means, obviously, less drones. viOLet's going to use this time to drone, but is it the right time? The links of hendralisk sneak in. They're going to look for drone kills here. Can he get any? The night mining's nice, but it's not enough. Using those links back at home might have been the better choice. He does have energy for one transfuse on one of the queens. hendralisk, that is, so he really wasn't able to do much with those links. Now the drone counts are pretty much even, and the only disadvantage that viOLet has is really his lack of gas or his lack of link speed. At the same time, with the drone counts being even, it means that viOLet's gonna have a little bit higher mineral income per minute compared to hendralisk, since he didn't take any gases yet. So this could grow into an even bigger advantage in the economical department. But for the time being, it's just what it is. We are seeing hendralisk tech extremely quickly, so we might see him going into Muta. It's he is on 3 gas. No Roach Warren in the way. The lair is over halfway done, so yeah, it's definitely gonna be Muta. And I like this. He has map control already. It's hard for viOLet to do anything about that. It's hard for viOLet to really predict what his opponent is doing, because scouting with slow links is extremely difficult, and he has no tech, so no overseers will be on the way anytime soon. And viOLet's kind of forced into Roach Warren, so this looks a lot like the last game, except hendralisk is on the better end of things. Yeah. He has a lot of queens still to defend against links that will trade very cost efficiently. He will show the second gas at the natural, which could be a tell for viOLet, but many Zergs usually take the 2 gases at the natural before they take the 3rd one, or the last one at the main. Now, this should not have happened. With 4 queens out, there should always be a block on that ramp available to, you know, to hendralisk. So viOLet will spot the Spire, and now what is his response going to be? He starts upgrading for the roaches, which is a little bit questionable. And he is getting a lair. But he needs to decide, am I gonna even try to take a 3rd? It's a little bit late for that. Perhaps if he had started as soon as the Spire finished, or as soon as he saw the Spire, he might have gotten a 3rd and potentially a couple of spores to try and defend that in time. But as is, I don't know, viOLet's stuck on 2 base, and hendralisk will have 3, and there's nothing that viOLet can do about it. So it's pretty difficult. It's much like last game, except last game hendralisk had to do a little bit of extra work viOLet had to do a little bit of extra work in denying that 3rd. This time the 3rd won't even be up.
So who's ahead?
Hey, what's up?
You didn't see me?
No, hendralisk is definitely ahead in this game.
But viOLet has more walkers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. He's only in 2 base, and hendralisk will have the 3rd base up pretty soon. viOLet's gonna have a lot of trouble securing the 3rd, and he's gonna have to make spores. And
viOLet upgrading the +1 missile attack earlier doesn't matter.
Not really.
Like, is there nothing that he can do, like say counterattack with his roaches against the mutas that would work out well? He's getting spores and all. I think viOLet's winning. No. Here's the thing. Even if you counterattack with the roaches just to buy yourself more time, then you're sacrificing those roaches once the muta pull back. Yeah, but he can buy himself more time to get, like, say, hydras into... Oh, actually... Yeah, hendralisk completely took off in the worker counts. Yeah, and that's because he has the map control. So making those spores also costs drones, not just money. And having those muta out basically means you cannot move out on the map, which means I can do whatever I want. And in this position, it's drones. viOLet also needs to continue to produce roaches, even if it's a small amount,
because he needs to be safe against link run-bys. Without map control, he has no way of telling whether hendralisk is producing no links at all, as is the case, or, you know, only making links.
Do you agree with the Muta counts? 7, is that the number?
I don't think there's a magic number per se, but yeah, 7's a good number. I mean 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
okay,
11, 12. It really depends on what you want to do with the Muta. In this position, actually, 7 is pretty perfect for hendralisk, as viOLet has made so many spores. There's just so many surrounding everywhere. So those Mutalisks are not going to be able to do anything except for deny anything that comes out of viOLet's base.
Does he want them to get fungled and die, so that some energy can be used on the infestor, or does he want to keep them alive? Like, what's...
That's an excellent question, Todd. Sometimes it's good to do that right before a fight, because the Muta are not going to be important during the fight. But right now, he definitely does not want that. He wants to keep them alive as long as possible.
Well, actually, he could do that during the fight. If he comes in from behind with the Mutas and targets on the infestors, and there is only roaches and infestors, he's going to force the fungals on them.
Yeah, but I mean, viOLet cannot move out before he has either hydralisks or an absurd amount of queens that are willing to walk across the map. So basically hydralisks. So yeah, I mean, they shouldn't force anything in the fight.
35 roaches now, 7 mutas against some Swamos. The split's gonna be important here. And hendralisk is gonna get in there right away. The mutas try to dodge the spores, but they're gonna get killed big time. There's just so many roaches for hendralisk here.
Yeah, there's a lot of roaches. There's no more energy on the infestors, but this still is not an attack that I would have gone for. I think he had the economic lead and he had the map control. I think he would have been better off doing what viOLet did last game, but is it gonna matter? I don't think so. It looks like he has it anyway. There's no more energy on those infestors. They're as good as not being there. They're gonna get picked off anyway, but it seems like hendralisk is gonna be able to close out this game in a pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, hendralisk is crushing through right now. The army supply 77 to 38, and there is nothing viOLet can do to stop him. He's just, that timing was good in the end. Like, it looked close for a moment, but he's just gonna have too much in the end. I mean, 35 roaches against 10 is pretty brutal. Like, you could have had literally, like, you would have needed like 15 infestors. GG, hendralisk will win the game on overgrowth.
Yeah, and that's gonna make the series 1-1. So we're gonna go to a deciding game 3, which should be pretty good. We've had a lot of 1-2s today, which is, you know, great for watching. But yeah, basically, if viOLet stops that attack, there is a second wave where hendralisk is gonna go in and the infestors won't have energy. But if he stops that attack decisively enough, hendralisk basically loses because he doesn't have the tech to contend with.
Yeah, but like, I mean, how do you hold decisively and then still hold the next wave? Because then you would use all of his energy anyway. On the
but if you can hold decisively, like say, when you go infestors this early, you can add spines, for example.
Okay, what does decisively mean?
Just you hold and you retain most of your roaches, or a good number of infestors or roaches mainly.
Okay.
Because the economies weren't that different at the end. So a little bit risky, but it was an extremely powerful timing regardless.
I think I'm gonna let Lathanias return.
All right. You guys gotta do what you gotta do. The victor. Did you win? Did you win?
I got a forfeit win.
Right.
I asked the admin, I'm like, so can I walk over while you wait? He's like, no, you have to stay here the whole entire time, which makes sense.